Hello BookTube. My name is Rhema and welcome back to my channel. So basically, okay, this video today is going to be a summer 2017 wrap up, and I read a whopping 15 books. I know that some booktubers seem to like read 15 books in their sleep, like they read 15 books in a month. I read 15 books over the course of almost 3 months. But like I said, I'm just getting back into this and I'm kind of proud of myself. But so yeah, I guess I'm gonna use Goodreads to help me out with this because I actually recorded everything on here. So the first book that I read is Everything by Nicole Yoon. So I found out about this. I saw the trailer on Facebook where basically the girl, her immune system was like extremely weak to the point that if she went outside she'd probably just die. Her house was like a self-cleaning type thing. The air was like the cleanest she could breathe. She was basically, her immune system was like a baby. She'd never been exposed to anything else. So she's been living in this house, just her and her mom and the nurse that takes care of her. And that's for almost 18 years. Of course, it's kind of a love story. This boy moves in next door and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so I saw the trailer and I was like, wow, I have to go see that movie. So then I ended up, before the movie came out, I went to Target just to go get a book because I decided I was going to start reading this summer. And I saw this and I was like, that can't be the same thing. So I read the bio and it was. I got to read the book before I go see the movie. So I read the book. I loved it. And then I went to see the movie. The book was better than the movie. I gave the book 5 stars on Goodreads. It took me, I gave it 5 stars. And it took me quite a while to read it because I got this right after graduation. And then after graduation, I went on my graduation trip. And had other stuff going on. So it took me like almost 3 weeks to read this book. I know. But I loved it. I said, what I really loved about it is the short like chapter. And the way the chapters are made up. It's so that it goes by so much faster. Anyway, I gave this a 5 out of 5. I loved it. I love Nicole Yoon. She has a way with writing. Her husband actually, I think he did the artwork for this. And I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was amazing. Plot twist. There's a plot twist in here. The plot twist was really good to me too. But yeah, 5 out of 5. Definitely suggest you read it before you see the movie. I did not really like the movie. And also there was a scene in the book that was not in the movie that I felt should be in the movie. But when I went to go see the movie, there were a whole bunch of 7-year-old kids in there. And I was like, okay, that scene can't be in here because these kids are in here. But yeah, the movie was cute, but the movie could have been better. I like the book better though. Okay, so that's Everything 5 stars. The next book I got is The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl by Issa Rae. So I also got this from Target, and what caught my eye was The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl. I'm awkward and I'm black, so you know I had to pick this up. And then Issa Rae, I'd seen this name before but I didn't know where. And as soon as I read this book, she started popping up everywhere. She probably was already everywhere. I just wasn't really paying any attention. But this is her autobiography basically. It's so funny. I laughed out loud. I did not want it to end. It was amazing. I could give it 10 out of 5 stars if I would. But she has a web series. She became known by a web series on YouTube called Awkward Black Girl. It's so funny. I encourage you to go watch it. And she has a show on HBO right now called Insecure, which is also great. It's for mature audiences, so if you're like 12 years old watching my video, please don't go check that show out because I don't want your parents saying, you know, this girl on YouTube said I should watch this. No, don't do it. But anyway, this book was really funny. I'm pretty sure, I'm not even using Goodreads like I said I would. I'm pretty sure I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. And I did. It was great. I highly suggest you read this. White, black, whatever. Read the book. But if you're black and you're like me, you probably could relate to this better. But white people, black people, Asian people, everybody, read the book. It's really good. Okay, so that's 2. The third book I read, and something that I'm so excited to tell you guys about, is The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicole Yoon. I got this at the same time as Awkward Black Girl because I wanted to read another book by Nicole Yoon because I love the first book so much. And this book is quite possibly one of my, if not the most favorite read of the summer. I didn't think I would like it at first. I'm not an insta-lovey type of person, and this book is like basically these 2 teenagers meet and it's like following them on a day, but you feel like it's so much longer than a day, the way that they just like, the way they interact with each other. And I don't even want to go into the plot. I just want you guys to read the book. Like, it's amazing. I cried. I was shook. I was like, I felt so many feels. I was like, and I didn't think I was going to. I started reading it like, the author, she's black, her husband is Korean I think, and they have a mixed baby. And like in the book, the girl is black, the guy is Korean. And I was like, when that happens, like when authors so clearly base characters off of like real life things, it reminds me that I'm just reading the story and it's hard for me to get into it. But after so many pages into the book, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, I was at work reading this and I was just like fidgeting. I was feeling all the feels, and also the chapters are short in this book, which makes it great. It was a breeze, like flipping through it. I hate long chapter books because I just feel like I'm just trying to get to the end, just trying to get there until the book is really good. But from the beginning, it's like a really easy read. And I also really like how everything is connected in the book. It shows you how the little things you do have big impacts in the bigger picture. It was so beautiful, so many lessons to be learned. I loved it. I didn't even have to look at Goodreads. I gave this a 5 out of 5. I could give this a 20 out of 5 if I could. Please read this book if you haven't. Please, please, please. You're missing out, and don't take forever to read it. I also feel like the reason after I read this book and the next book in this pile, it was really hard for me to get into books because I feel like I was taking so long to read them. I feel like when you read books, I'm not saying rush through the book, because I don't rush through books. Like, I'll take my time to read them, but I'm saying like try to read it within 3 days, because I feel like the longer you take to read a book, if you read a chapter and you stop, then it's kind of hard to really get into the story because you keep losing it whenever you put the book down. So yeah, that's what I would say. Please read the book. It's really good. 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read after I finished The Sun Is Also a Star, I didn't really think I was going to find anything else that great, but I went to Book A Million and I got The Memory Book by Laura Avery. I just picked this up on my lunch break because I needed something to read. I started reading it. I thought the story was pretty interesting. It's about this girl who finds out that she has a terminal disease that affects her memory, and it also affects the part of her brain that, you know, it's just simple things like how you feed yourself, just motor skills, things like that she was gonna lose. And it was amazing to see her journey. Like, she starts off, the whole book is basically a diary to herself, and it's for her to read when she starts losing it. And it's just amazing to see how strong she is. Even though she's gotten this diagnosis, she's still like going on with her life. She still has her plans for college, and she's on the debate team at school, which is what makes it so bad. It's because she's having this memory problem when you're on the debate team. That's like the worst possible thing. But it's like, it shows her relationships with people and how they change towards the end. It touched my heart. I didn't think I was going to react like this towards the end of the book, but I did. I cried at work. I couldn't even explain to people why I was crying. I just started crying. I'm about to cry again. The book was amazing. I think I gave it 4. I'm not even going to use Goodreads unless I have to, but I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. I could go back actually, but I gave it a 4 out of 5 because I read it after This One's Also a Star. But this was a really good book. Didn't think it was going to be that great, but it turned out to be amazing, and I highly suggest you read it. It made me cry. So the next book I read is, unfortunately, I'm Judging You, the Do Better Manual by Levy Ajayi. She's Nigerian. So I got this because I loved Issa Rae's book so much, and Issa Rae suggested this, and it was also suggested to me after I bought Issa Rae's book, and I did not like this at all. It's not an autobiography, it's just a do better manual, and basically the author is ranting about stuff that I feel we all agree on. Like, we all agree that that's stupid to do that. So it's just a whole book that repeats itself over and over again, and while I will admit her writing, I like the way she writes, I just feel like she could have wrote an autobiography. I would have been more interested to read that than just read about stuff that I already agree with, said over and over and over again. So I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I don't suggest it, but I mean, some people did seem to like it. So if you want to get this, I'm sure you can find it on Amazon or something. But yeah, that's that. So after I read that, I read the Percy Jackson series. And I read this because I heard a lot of booktubers saying this is what got them into reading. I never took the chance to read it. I was interested because growing up I was in gifted classes and we learned about mythology, and I was so interested in like Egypt, Greece, Rome, and all that stuff, and I had to read it. So I read the first book, fell in love with the way that Rick Riordan, I don't know how to say his name, how he set it up, and I read the second and third book. That's when I kind of realized, you know, I'm reading a book that's for somebody younger than me. But the 4th and the 5th book got me back into it, and I was like, I love this. The only thing about this is that I think anybody can read it at any age, but I really wish that I had read this when I was younger and I was reading all that when I was studying it in elementary school, because I feel like I would have loved it so much more. It would have been much more magical for me, but it was still pretty good. And I was going to read the Heroes of Olympus after this, but I decided to give myself a break. I'll do that later. But this was good. I give the series an 8 out of 10 because I'm reading it at 22. I read it at 22, but I'm sure if I read it younger, I would give it a 10 out of 10. So that is Percy Jackson the Olympians. It's a very good series. So after that, I came home. This is all the books that I read while I was working. And the next book that I read is Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. This was a Goodreads buy. I saw this on Goodreads and they got a lot of good reviews. Everybody was saying it's a cute summer read, and I read it and I was kind of depressed. Like, it didn't make me feel light and happy. It just made me feel like, I don't know. But when you put me at home in like a quiet place, it's hard for me to get through a book. So I feel like it took me a while to read this, and that might be why I couldn't really get into it. Not that I'm a slow reader, I just, you know, it just took me a while. I just kept putting the book down. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a good book. I didn't really enjoy it that much. I feel like I gave it a 3 out of 5. I gave it a 3 out of 5. But I'm not saying you shouldn't read it. You'll probably like it. I'm just saying I didn't really like it that much. I'm comparing everything to The Sun Is Also a Star. I didn't really like this that much. It didn't give me the feels. So that's Love and Gelato, 3 stars. Now the next book I read was a very, very hyped book, and I don't know how I feel about it. And it is, don't get mad at me, please don't get mad at me. It's Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. And I saw this on people's booktube videos. I saw this in the store, and I got the collector's edition, like with all the stuff. And so I read it, and my issue with this book is that the way I learned that you write stories, not that you have to write stories this way, but the way that most stories that I've read, the way I learned to write stories is that you have like the opening, you have the rising action, you have the climax, you have the falling action, you have the resolution. This book wasn't like this. The book was like this. Like, I feel like none of the conflicts that were introduced in the book were ever resolved, and I feel like I didn't get anything from it. I didn't get any feels from the book, like none. But what makes me confused about it is that I kept coming back to this book though. The way that Rainbow writes is amazing. It's like you can just read it. It's like sitting on the beach, but it didn't go anywhere. Like, I loved coming back to this book just to read it, but I was just reading it to read it. There was no big thing about it. I don't know if I'm making sense, but the book, I don't know whether to be disappointed or to say it was good, because there was no climax. There was one little small bitty climax in the book. I'm not gonna tell you what it was, but I was like, ooh, I wonder what happens now. But that only happened to me one time, and it was just like, but I just kept reading it. I kept coming back. I kind of didn't want it to end, because it's like, it's just one of those, like, I'm not making any sense right now. But I'm not saying don't read the book. I liked it, but I didn't like it. I don't know how to explain it, but that's where we're going with this. Let's see what I gave it. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Yeah, sounds about right. Fangirl. Read the book because it's hyped. But I'm just telling you, there was nothing big in it for me. I didn't get too much out of it. So after I read Fangirl, I didn't have any more books on my shelf to read, so I went to Target and I picked up 6 of Crows. And so I started reading it, and I realized I don't know what this is talking about. Like, what are Grisha? Like, what? And then I remember I was watching Naya Reads and Smiles videos, and she was saying that she reads books in order of publication. She was actually talking about Leigh Bardugo, who wrote that book, and there was a whole trilogy before 6 of Crows. I was like, let me just order that and let me go get another book to hold myself over. So the book I got to hold myself over before I started the Grisha trilogy is The Sky Is Everywhere by Jenny Nelson. Now this book was written so beautifully. For some reason, it's really been hard for me to get into a book though, and I read this pretty quickly, like maybe in 3 days. Let me see how long it took me to read it. I read this book pretty fast. Yeah, it took me like 2 days to read this, and I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was going to depress me because of the story, and I'm just not realizing that I didn't really give you the story of like these 2 books. But that's okay, I'm new to this, I'm going to do better. But the story was basically about a girl who loses her sister, her older sister, and it just leaves like a big gap, a hole in her life, and she's not the same person that she was before. Before she was living her sister's shadow, and now she kind of has to come into her own. And it is sad, but it's a funny kind of sad, and I just feel like I was growing with the character. And just to hear about all the stuff that she was dealing with, the stupid things she was doing, like, you know, we can all probably relate to this on some level. So I really thought it was beautifully written, funny. I suggest it to anyone, but for some reason it didn't just give me like the book hangover that I was looking for, and I've really been looking for a book to give me that. And I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Highly suggest you read it. For some reason it didn't give me the feels, but I felt like it should have, because I liked it. But I'm sure it'll give you guys the feels, or somebody the feels. So now, after I finished this, the Grisha trilogy came in for me. I read the first and the second book. I finished the second book last night, and I'm on the 3rd book now, Ruin and Rising. Well, I'm about to start this later. I had to give myself a break after the second book, because I was dreaming about that last night. But the first book is Shadow and Bone. It took me too long to read this, like maybe 10 days. I enjoyed it a lot. Like, it was such a good break from contemporary, and I really loved it. I loved how Leigh Bardugo set the whole world up with the Grisha. It's hard to explain. This book isn't about, it is about magic eventually, but it's not about magic. They explain that the powers that these Grisha have is not magic, it's just manipulating what's already in the atmosphere. It's very interesting. I suggest you read it. I loved it. I don't even know how to say it. I feel like I'm just babbling now because I gotta get ready to go in like 7 minutes, but this was great. Read the book. It got great reviews. I feel like they should turn this into a movie or something. But yeah, so I read this, but I didn't get the feels yet, but I read it. So then after I finished Shadow and Bone, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, and I said basically that it was a nice break from contemporary, because I was really tired of reading books about regular people in a regular world. Like, I got tired of that. I needed a fantasy book, so I got this. It was great. Please read it. 4 out of 5 stars. Then last night I finished Siege and Storm, and everybody was complaining that this book suffered from middle book syndrome, and I understand why they say that, but it's kind of like, this was kind of like New Moon for Twilight. This was if you read New Moon from Twilight, it was like the main characters like were gone, and then it left Bella, I forgot, how could I forget? It left like the girl with Jacob, and that's kind of how this was. Like, you're in a plotting phase, and like the main guy character has left, and now it's just like you're meeting all these new relationships type people, and it's just kind of like it's building relationships, and it's like plotting up to get to the end. But I enjoyed it so much. Like, I started, first of all, the first 150 pages are full of action, and then after that it's kind of like the plotting phase, and like it's just building relationships with different characters. And then the final like 40 pages of the book, oh my god, I was in the bed last night like, I gotta finish this. This book gave me all the feels that I was looking for. They say it suffered from middle book syndrome. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Siege and Storm, I love this, and I can't wait to read Ruin and Rise, and I think Leigh Bardugo is amazing. And after I read Ruin and Rise, I'm going to read Six of Crows, and I already ordered Crooked Kingdom, so I'm excited. I might just do a separate video on the Grisha trilogy and in the duology after this. But yeah, these are all the books, the 15 books that I read this summer so far. Goodreads, my goal is 50 books for 2017. I don't know if I'm able to do that, but I'm gonna try my best. I'm so sorry that it probably feels like I rushed this video. I tried, and I forgot to even like explain to you what some of these books were about, but I hope that you enjoyed it. Until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm so sorry that I rushed. And again, I also wanted to thank you guys for all the nice, beautiful, sweet comments that you left on my first video. It made me feel so welcome to the community. But until my next video, bye guys. Thank you so much.